Up until this point in the channel, we have covered lore across a few games from the Final Fantasy series, mainly from Final Fantasies X and XII. We have taken a look at various characters, events, and general lore of the world behind these games. However, there is a plethora of content that is still left untouched that we will get to covering, as well as some revisits that we will certainly make in the future. In today's video, we will be covering one of the locations of Final Fantasy X, the island of Besaid. We know the island as the first place Tidus visits in the event of the game, as well as the start of Yuna's journey as a summoner. But what else do we know about this island? Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to F2 Worlds and today's video where we cover the lore behind the island of Besaid. We all know Besaid Island to be the second location Tidus visits in Spira after Baj Temple. In fact, this is where he gets introduced to most of his companions in Wakka, Lulu, Yuna, and Kimahri. Tidus meets the party as they start their journey here, but that's not mainly what we're looking at. We all know about that already. What we'll be looking at is the location itself, looking at as many details as possible, since Besaid sees little conflict and is the most peaceful location in all of Spira due to its location. It is often overlooked by the general population, apart from the villagers who live there. Something interesting about Besaid, however, is the few signs of Machina buildings that exist in the island, which shows that Besaid was once a major city in Spira's Machina era. But what was it used for? In fact, this is revealed in Final Fantasy 2.5. It states that Besaid was once a Machina City in which many summoners lived. They lived here to practice their craft of summoning around the time of the Machina War between Bevel and Zanarkand. In addition, I believe they lived in Besaid because it is a place surrounded by water, which easily harmonizes with pyreflies, a feature summoners can use to practice their craft. An example would be for performing sendings, where the pyreflies used in the ritual can cause the water to be a foothold, a feature we see when Yuna performs the sending in Kilika. Another possible reason for living in Besaid could also be its secluded location allowed the summoners to practice their craft without interference from the general population. Regardless of the reason, pre-Final Fantasy X Besaid was a place popular with summoners at the time. When the Machina War happened and Sin was born from Yu Yevon's last attempt of saving Zanarkand, Sin destroyed almost all signs of Machina in Spira, including Besaid, resulting in the trail of Machina ruins left behind by Sin's wake. Over time, Besaid began to go natural after realizing that any attempts of restoring Machina civilizations would result in Sin destroying it over and over in a cycle of destruction. Shortly after the religion of Yevon was established, a temple was built at Besaid village, the only sign of civilization in the island. While it is hard to picture what Besaid would look like in the past, the Besaid that we know in the game is one that is full of flora and fauna. Despite Besaid's trails being relatively short, its natural features vary, from forests to cliffs, to lakes and waterfalls. This is due to the lack of rebuilding of the civilization of Besaid for fear of Sin's return and constant attacks on the island. Besaid is also the home of a blitzball team known as the Besaid Aurochs. Unfortunately, prior to the arrival of Tidus, they are notably seen as a lower tier team in the sport of blitzball, with its current incarnation showing as such when Tidus arrives in Besaid. Another establishment that has a place in the island are the Crusaders, who have a Crusader tent managed by Luzu and Gata. Like many of the places in Spira where Sin's attacks are prevalent, the Crusaders reside there to defend the villagers of Besaid in case of an attack from Sin. Despite its secluded location, all the high summoners of Spira have likely visited Besaid during their pilgrimages to obtain the Aeon of Valefor housed in the temple. One notable visit was by High Summoner Braska, who found the peaceful and natural environment of Besaid captivating to the point he requested for Yuna to be taken there to grow up. Yuna was eventually sent to Besaid by Kimahri shortly after Braska's death upon completion of his pilgrimage. Over the next 10 years, Yuna would grow up in the peaceful surroundings of Besaid Isle, with her childhood not being influenced by external factors as she happily grew up alongside Wakka, Chapu, and Lulu until her eventual path to becoming a summoner, and embarking on her journey much like her father before her. With Besaid being such a small island with its location being relatively secluded compared to the rest of Spira, it is understandable that the general population of Spira does not visit Besaid apart from summoners looking to obtain its Aeon held in its temple. And that about covers it for Besaid. It was expected for it to be a rather short video, considering Besaid was not a main focus on the overall plot of Final Fantasy X, but it was still pivotal in other ways. Let me know what you think. Would you see yourself exploring Besaid if it was a real place? Are there any other secrets I may have missed? Let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, leave a like if you enjoyed and consider subscribing if you want to see more Final Fantasy content. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and that, as they say, is